Well, hello. This is a devlog for my roguelike simulation game engine sort of thing. I'm having fun kind of playing with, really. Doodling around with is what I like to call it. So I've been making a lot of progress with it here recently, and I just kind of want to go over what I've been up to here. So I've got it organized here of what I've been doing over the past week or so. And I'll just kind of go into each one, spend a couple of minutes, and then at the end here, I have some thoughts on game development and doing a devlog and that sort of stuff. So we'll save that to the end here. So let's just hop right into it here. So on the 13th here, just wanted to kind of show off here that I've got 2.5D boxes working in my little engine here. The fun part about 2.5 dimension is that the y-axis has to do double duty of both the to present both the y and the z dimensions, because we live in three-dimensional world, but this is obviously just a particular symbolic perspective of those three dimensions in two and scare quotes half dimensions, right? And so this is just kind of showing off that I think I've cracked the nut on that. Kind of some key takeaways here are that the when you do hitboxes, these little gray areas are here. I can kind of draw on the screen here. This little thing right here, little gray area is the hitbox or the collision box for this entity of this rectangle here. So the key here is that if you're doing this particular form of 2.5 dimension straight top down perspective, not an isometric perspective, which is kind of tilted towards one direction, is that you just kind of want to make the hitbox a little bit smaller than the actual sprite, right? So the actual sprite shape is this thing right here. I could have used a different color. Oh well. Uh, the it's the whole sprite is this, and then the hitbox is just this little area right here, right? You can see that the player has its own little tiny hitbox as well, uh, and so this allows the player to kind of move behind the let's say this was the building, behind the building or in front of the building and collide at the right time, so it looks good. So anyway, that's the trick to that. If you're doing a 2.5 dimension sort of game, is that you want to make you can't make your collider the same size as your sprite. So let's see, anything else I got going on here? I don't think so. I think that's basically it. I guess one thing to note is that I am using I can never say that word, algorithmic generation, which this is ironic being a software developer. I can say algorithm, but I can't say algorithmic. Oh, I can say it. What do you have? Anyway, uh, the uh, uh, the thing is, I'm using generation. I'll just say generation here to generate all my entities here, except for the actual character sprites, where I'm using a tile set to kind of generate those. These are really just placeholders anyway. Um, but for like the trees and so forth, my plan so far is to use vectors to actually draw uh, the sprites themselves, and then let me get the pen out again. So here's the vector representation, and then here's what the sprite kind of looks like, right? Because it's pixelated. So I'm kind of going for a pixelated sort of art style look. I don't know whether I'll keep that or not. I actually kind of digging how the vectors are kind of looking, so I might just go with vectors. But for right now, I'm kind of playing with creating a 2D pixel art game. I kind of like that retro style. Uh, and so that's how I'm doing it, right? I'm creating the vector, then I rasterize it, create pixels out of the vector, and plop those into the game world. So that's that. Next thing, infinite terrain. So because I'm trying to create like a infinite world, uh, sort of simulation kind of game, kind of. I don't know. I'm actually just having fun, like I said, kind of doodling around, kind of playing with stuff. The One of the things I just kind of wanted to show off here was that I've got grass in addition to trees now, which are you can kind of see the grass vector, and then obviously the uh, raster representation there on the ground. And I'm just using open simplex noise to as the seed for my generation. So this is just kind of showing off that I have basically an infinite world of grass if when you use those things in conjunction. Let's see. Next thing. Oh, okay. I kind of noticed that my performance is sort of not so good, right? I'm getting about 17 frames per second here. Let me tell you how to read this here. So this is all my statistics on my little engine here, and so you can see that I'm getting 17 frames per second um, overall. And that's primarily because rendering is costing me 3.5, uh, 13.5 rather milliseconds per tick. So that plus other systems and so forth that aren't accounted for here. At the end of the day, I'm getting about 17 frames per second. Most of it's because the rendering is slow. Um, so that was kind of it was fun seeing how far I could push just normal straight Canvas 2D graphics. But I think at some point, you have to give up here. And so I transitioned to 3G or 3G, 3D with 3JS. And uh, it was good, right? You'll notice here that I went from about 17 frames per second to about 52 frames per second. And this is another thing to kind of pay attention here is like this draw image count here. So that's how many uh, entities I'm trying to draw on the screen. I don't think right in this particular version or this particular version of the game, I'm actually culling entities. So I'm drawing. I'm attempting to draw even outside the rectangle, right? So this area right here, the view box, the view area. Trying to draw stuff outside of that as well here, I believe, but it's only like a couple of hundred or something like that. So it's not the main uh, issue. But anyway, I got about 2 to 3 times performance boost by just going from 2D to 3G, 3G WebGL, which is 3D sort of graphics. I'm using 3JS. I tried both 3GS and Babylon, but and I've had some experience with both, and I tried to go with Babylon first, but Babylon is really wanting to be its own thing. Uh, uh, really, all I want is the rendering aspect of this library, right? Or engine, if you want to call it an engine, graphics engine. Uh, and Babylon is really trying to be, I don't know, its own little universe in a sense, right? It's trying to be a game development platform or kind of a 3D development platform, let's call it. Whereas 3JS is really just focused on just rendering. Uh, and so, for my purposes, at least for right now, 3GS seems to work a little bit better. So I'm gonna stick with that for the moment. But they're both decent sort of engines. Just just kind of different. I'd say 3GS is just a little bit more slimmer. It's just slimmer sort of thing. Just the rendering. Oh, here, let me show off what you can do here. This was me getting it, uh, you know, up and running and working and rendering and so forth. Obviously, it doesn't look right, but it was sort of enough to prove the performance to me. And so then I did go back and fix the the graphics glitches and so forth, and so now you can't even tell which one it's rendering in. So that was kind of a win. I did have to go back and fix the physics. Uh, it just has to do with the fact that here, let me pause it here. I talked about this before, is that each system wants to have its own um, perspective or point of view of the entity. And so when you're doing 2D graphics, the position, for instance, wants to be the top left. When you're doing physics or collision detection and so forth, it needs to be the hitbox. So let's imagine the hitbox is like right there, let's say. Well, then the position of the hitbox is this, right? It's the center of the hitbox for some physics systems, right? I'm using Matter.js for my physics, and so it's kind of the center, kind of, right? Because it's really the center of mass, which for kind of regular shapes is the center of the thing, but it gets complicated. Uh, and then for uh, the so the problem was, I have to coordinate between the graphic and the collisions in the physics engine, kind of make it all kind of work. Well, it turns out that when you move to 3D, you're really talking more about the mesh or the geometry, right? That the mesh contains, and when you're talking about position and so forth, when you're rendering, and that is for my purposes, it's like the center of the geometry, right? Because I'm just using the simple box geometry in threejs, and so the center of that particular geometry is like the center of the box, for instance, right? And so so I had to calculate when I did all my calculations for moving stuff around and everything. I had to take that into account, and so that was a day of my life. Got that all working. Next up, since you have one of the neat things about working with a more kind of powerful library or engine like threejs is that it has powerful abstractions that you can kind of take advantage of. And so one of the abstractions I'm taking advantage of here is the camera. Uh, threejs has just this camera object, right? Which is, effectively it's just there's not much to it. It's just kind of a helper for some of the matrix calculations. Uh, but it allows you to, because it is an abstraction, it allows you to just deal with that abstraction. And so one of the things that I can do is I just set the scale on the camera, right? And I get all this nice, pleasant zooming for free, right? And then I can also just, it's relatively easy for me to set the size of the canvas, right? And just kind of resize the canvas on the fly. Anyway, that's just me showing that off, and so that's one of the nice benefits of moving to a kind of a more powerful graphics engine. Let's see. Next up, we have. Let's see. I did zoom. So next up is the perspective. So one of the really cool features is, now that you have these abstractions, you can view the world in different ways. And so, so this is me kind of showing off that at the top there is kind of the normal game view, right? The 2.5 dimensional top-down game view. And what you're viewing on the bottom is the perspective camera, the kind of the normal 3D perspective camera of the scene renderer. And so what this shows is that, uh, for instance, that I'm only rendering, like I'm not rendering the whole universe out here, right? I'm only rendering. You'll notice that entities kind of pop in and pop out of rendering as I move around in the screen, move around in the scene rather. And so the this particular view, I guess I want to say, is very helpful in debugging, right? When you're and that's just it is very helpful in general to have multiple camera angles and views of your scene when you're doing this sort of graphical development, like in a game, in a video game. And so that's just very nice and helpful to be able to do that. And this just sort of shows off being able to uh, you know, to do that. And I guess I'll also say that you can let me explain a little bit about more about how I'm doing Y sorting in this kind of three D environment, or 2.5D in this three D environment. In one of the big parts of it, as I just said, is the Y sorting and how I'm accomplishing that. And you'll notice that these like pay attention to like this cube, right? And see how it kind of gets bigger as it moves down, and then it'll get smaller if it's as it goes up. Here, let me replay the video here. So notice the size of the pink cube as I go up the screen here, which I'll do here in a second. Well, it kind of goes out of frame, but you can notice the other cubes, right? They kind of get a little bigger, right? And as like this little green cube at the top, right, as it goes further up the screen, it gets smaller, right? And the way I accomplishing that is the by manipulating the z index of the mesh uh, by effectively just setting the z index to the or the z position coordinate rather to the y sorting index. So I just sort all the entities in the world by their y coordinate, taking into account their actual shape. So for instance, I'm not using, again, it's position, right? So I can't use the top left when doing this Y sorting. I can't use the center of it when doing this particular Y sorting, because it's really what I'm trying to accomplish here, if it's not obvious, is uh, to position like this little purple guy uh, over the little green guy. Like when you look at the top down perspective, I want to make sure that the purple's on top, right? Is being drawn. And the way I accomplish that, let's clear this out. The way I accomplish that is by sorting by the y coordinate, which is the bottom, right, of uh, the sprite, right? And so I sort it by the bottom of the sprite to make sure that the things that are like this purple entity are drawn over the top of things that are kind of further back. And the way that I accomplish that is that this particular mesh, right, has a z coordinate that's closer to the camera versus, in this case, the green box here. And so that's how that little trick is done when you're in 3D, right? Like when I was in kind of normal, just 2D, uh, simpler, you know, graphics land, I accomplished this by literally just drawing this guy first, and then I would draw this guy, right? It's just the order of the drawing, and that's actually, truth be told, how it happens in the 3D engine as well. Uh, to an extent, it's a little bit more complicated than that, but you can easily kind of fake what I'm doing here by just setting the z index to the y sort, or the z position rather, to the y sort index. I think the threejs allows you to also uh, just set the like the draw order of the meshes as well. The objects in the scene. Or obviously you could just have multiple scenes and kind of stack them up on top of each other. There's a lot of ways to skin this particular cat, but using the Z coordinate just works out really well. All right, so that's enough rambling on about that. So that's 20 minutes of your time that I took. So I appreciate you sticking around for this. So let me talk. Let's try to keep this to about 2 or 3 minutes here of just kind of a meta analysis of doing a devlog in itself. So first of all, I just wanted to kind of I, this was the thing I sort of figured out, and I just wanted to kind of tell the world about it. I'm sure the other people know about this, and I'm sure if I just did some more YouTube searching on how to do this, but I'm kind of new to this whole OBS uh, development blog sort of thing. So this was just sort of a neat discovery of mine that I'm sure other people have discovered. Is that I'm using the Chrome window view, right? This is the Chrome browser that you're seeing right now. Uh, and I'm using the so-called window view of OBS, which is just a really nice tool for doing like I wouldn't say screen captures, but screen captures, all sorts of capturing for streaming and creating kind of real time videos and that sort of thing. Uh, anyway, that's the technology that I'm using right now for capturing these videos and so forth. And I'm really enjoying it quite a bit, and it seems to be working well. Obviously, it allows me to kind of just skip around here and just play videos and have my notes right in front of me as well. So I'm just kind of enjoying this sort of workflow for the devlog. Next thing I just kind of want to touch on is that as I've been posting to social media, so I've been doing like this game development sort of uh, thing for let's say for about a year and a half, sort of semi-seriously. And but I haven't really been posting anything to social media or anything like that. And I've kind of got enough. I kind of feel more confident now in my abilities and what I'm able to do and so forth. So that's why I'm kind of uh, going more into social media, and I'm finding that a nice benefit of kind of posting to YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and so forth is that it's kind of motivational, right? It's nice to get those little thumbs ups and comments and so forth. You know, very few in my case because or for right now at least, because I'm just sort of brand new, right? But it's nice, and it kind of it kind of makes me want to keep up with the game and kind of keeps my interest alive in what I'm doing and so forth. And so it's just a good motivator, right? It's sort of like if you're a game developer or any sort of developer working on a project that's large, you're just kind of working by yourself a lot, which is fun, right? You're just enjoying the Zen-like experience of the coding. But after a while, it's you kind of want to. It's nice to be able to show off your work and get feedback, right? That's just a whole other, uh, because we're humans, I guess, right? We're social creatures, and so it's just a nice way to enhance uh, your what you're going after, right? Like to actually give you some more interest and juice for doing what you want to do there. Another thing kind of tied to that is that I'm feeling that game development, especially in the context of 2021, as I'm recording this, uh, is really more a performance art than just the game itself, right? So it's not necessarily just producing the game. I think it's part of the whole being a game developer or like an independent game developer, which I guess I would kind of qualify as since it's just me. Uh, uh, Part of that being that, right, is actually I think kind of showing off your work, like your in progress work. People are kind of interested in that. Now, I think 99% of the people that are interested in that are fellow game developers, but that's okay, right? That's the people that are interested enough in games that they're trying to develop themselves, right? They're kind of the true hardcore audience, right? So that's perfectly fine. I'm speaking to my people if you're a fellow game developer, uh, and so but it's nice to be able to perform for your audience, right? Just like I consider game development to be a form of art, and you know, I don't want to work for 3 years and then get some feedback, right, on what I'm doing. It's nice to be able to kind of get feedback, I think, along the way, and get that motivation, get those endorphins or what have you from those little likes and so forth is kind of a nice benefit as well. But also just the feedback to let people telling hey, this works, this doesn't work, or hey, you're trying to do this. Here's a neat way of doing that, or here's a tool you might enjoy, or whatever. Right, just getting all the social participation, right, of helping celebrate what you're doing with an audience is I think I don't know, it's nice, and it's nice to be able to do that, right? So let's take advantage of it. If you're a fellow game developer, my number one recommendation is to start posting to social media, right? Just uh, as soon as you can. I think it's or just get involved with an audience or other people. I think it's very helpful. And with that, thanks for your time and attention. I think I will be continuing these devlogs, but also my plan, we'll see if it comes to fruition, is to post a little bit more to YouTube over the coming days of just little kind of one-off tips and things I discover and so forth. So just little, 5 minute sorts of things that I discover along this journey that I think would be kind of neat to show off to other people. Anyway, that's it for now. Hope you're having a good one. Catch you later. Bye. Well, if OBS would stop for me. All right, there you go. Bye bye.